In 2 weeks' time, a group of 6 federal parliamentarians will travel to Dharamshala to meet with the Dalai Lama and other leaders of the Tibetan community in exile. It's the first such visit by an Australian parliamentary delegation and sure to raise eyebrows in China.
The delegation consists of 2 Labor MPs, 1 Liberal, Independent Senator Nick Xenophon and 2 Green senators. For more, Labor MP Michael Danby joins us now. Michael Danby, welcome.
Good morning.
So how did this delegation come about?
The Dalai Lama has been to Australia a number of times, and we've been involved in the Parliamentary Friends of Tibet, and particularly since the violence in Tibet by the Chinese government against the people of Tibet, there's been a sort of an upsurge in interest amongst Australian people generally, but also in the Parliament.
So you support the Tibetans' push for cultural autonomy within the nation of China. You're not supporting any sort of push for an independent Tibetan state. That's
right, Joe. Look, a lot of younger Tibetans who've been victims of the violence over there are moving towards a more militant view, but it's not us. We support the overwhelming view of the Tibetan exiles, which is they realise they're never going to be able to break free of China. So what they want is to preserve their beautiful religion and culture within a Chinese federation.
How ginger is this exercise in terms of the relationship with China? Have you had many protestations from China?
I'm not the Chinese ambassador's favourite guy, I can tell you. Not his go-to guy. He has made a number of protests to the Department of Foreign Affairs and to the Foreign Minister and other officials in Parliament, but to the great credit of the political system here, people have it explained to them that we live in an open and free society, and MPs are entitled to seek views where they want.
Why did you become so passionate about this issue and about these people who live so far away from us?
Well, I'm Jewish, so I suppose tolerance of other people's religions is something sort of I find very important. So that's a sort of like a personal angle in it, I suppose. But I think there's a lot of genuine sympathy from Australians. I think that the culture of openness and tolerance is something that we hold to very strongly, and therefore a sympathy for a group of people who have a very major culture that emerges from Tibetan Buddhism and express their views non-violently. A lot of people feel sympathy for that.
What will the parliamentary delegation be doing once in Dharamshala?
We're going to be having extensive meetings with refugees who've just come across the long trek across the Himalayas. We're going to be meeting people who are preserving the various aspects of Tibetan culture. We're going to be meeting their Prime Minister and and Cabinet in exile, and we're going to, I don't know whether we're going with Richard Gere, but we're going to His Holiness's 74th birthday party, which is on the 6th of July.
Are you concerned at all that a visit like this could make the situation worse in terms of Chinese attitudes towards the Tibetans? No,
the Chinese have a delegation of sort of Uncle Toms who are here at the moment in Australia. They are able to put their views very strongly, and I just see this as a bit of a balancing up. The Australian government has a very balanced attitude towards China. It wants good economic relations. The Prime Minister, to his credit, when he was there just after the Beijing Olympics, you'll remember, said that the Tibetans should have more cultural autonomy. But, you know, we're not an official group. We're not representing Australian government policy, but we're speaking on behalf of a group of parliamentarians across the political spectrum, as you noted in your intro. And Australian people just feel that Tibetans should be given a fair go.
Now, just briefly, on your way home you'll be swinging past New Delhi. Will you be in talks about the violence that we've seen against students in Australia in recent weeks?
Good point, Tamara. In fact, on our way up, and I think all of us have decided that it would be gutless if we didn't sort of face these issues head on. So we're going to be expressing our views to Indian parliamentarians and getting a good briefing from state governments about what they're doing to make sure this violence isn't continuing.
Michael Danby, thanks for coming in this morning.
Pleasure.
A reminder about our website, abc.net.au/breakfast, where you can watch the